morning everyone, and welcome to this extremely hot day here in China. So I have brought my damaged Breitling Colt, focus, to bring it back to life. I'm going to look for a dial, hands, movement, everything I can. So I've come to this building where they have all the parts that I will need to make this watch come back to life. So I'll take you around all the places that I can find, which will, well, I won't film everything, I'll edit it all out and show you the ones that I'm going to pick. So they'll have everything in here, so let's take a look. The first thing I did was look at a movement. That was the most important thing for me to get first, was the movement, instead of getting the dial first and then trying to find the movement to fit around the dial. So I went around and had a look at what kind of movements they had. Now this has the Breitling movement in there because it's an original Breitling. It's basically an ETA 7750 movement which is modified by Breitling. So it was a case of what kind of movement do I want. Now I did want another automatic movement. So the first company I went to see was a company called Peacock, which is a Chinese-made company. They had a lot of movements, from automatic movements, just three-hand ones, to chronograph, to tourbillons and everything else. Now I did actually consider putting a tourbillon in here, but because it's got the chronograph pushes in there, I decided, nah, I'll just get another chronograph movement. Now they did have a nice chronograph movement at a very good price as well, but their movements are not very stable. There's a lot of problems with them, so I decided, nope, I'll give that a miss. The price was very good, but there's no point in getting a movement which is not going to be very good. So then I went over to Seagull, had a look at their movements, but same problems. Now the one they had is I think it's the SD12. There's a lot of these watches around with that movement in there, so it's a hand-wound movement. I've got a 1963 Seagull watch with that movement, which is a fantastic watch, absolutely adore it. But the problem with Seagull is the movements that you buy and the movements that are in their watches are not exactly the same. Their watch movements are a lot better quality than the ones you can just buy. So they're not very well regulated. They just basically sell you the movement and then that's it. But the ones you buy watches with their movement in there are a lot better, because they tend to regulate them, decorate them a lot better as well. So and it was a manual movement. The subdials were at 9 and 3 o'clock, and because I've already got a Seagull movement watch, I decided no, I don't want another Seagull movement. And I did actually look at Miyota, so I got a Miyota catalogue, but the problem is the Miyota ones, they're all battery powered, and I did want an automatic one instead. So these are all battery powered, which has its benefits, good points and bad points. I mean, yeah, they make some good movements, they're reliable, they're very good value for money, but I prefer my automatic movements more than quartz movements. So I decided not to go for a Miyota movement, and they've got literally any type of movement you want, but again, mainly they do quartz. So then I went over to another place where the guy basically sells movements for replica watches. So he does just about every movement that you could imagine, and he did have a ETA 775 clone movement, which is basically what I wanted. And he actually did, because he does the movements for all the replica watches and so on. He did actually have a complete movement with a dial, with a Rolex Daytona dial, which I gotta say, I was really tempted. Just as a giggle, I thought it would be really funny to have a Rolex Daytona dial in the watch, in a Breitling case, which would have been quite funny. It would have been like the ultimate Frankenstein watch. But in the end, I decided not to. Now, in terms of what it would have cost me, $50 all in. That's everything. That's him fitting it, the movement, the dial. As you can see, he would have just taken the old one out, put the new one in, closed it up, paid him $50, and I'm done. And I was really tempted to do it, but in the end I decided no, I'm going to look for something, my own dial. So I bought the 775 movement off him, and I've got I'll actually probably get him to fit the watch and put it together for me. Then I went off to look at some dials. Now they've got literally thousands of dials here, just about everything you can think of. And because I've got the 775 movement, I keep calling it that, but so I need to find something with subdials at 12, 9 and 6 o'clock. Now, there were so many, but none of them really called out to me. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. Now, they had ones which were all sorts of different types of Gillow shade dials. You get flat dials, you could get battens, or you can have numerals, panda dials, black, blue, just about any color you wanted as well. But at that day they didn't really have something that I wanted then and there, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Now, a friend of mine, she works for a factory that produced these micro brands. They've actually done a dial for me. They did on my Seiko. They put Mickey Mouse on the dial for me, which was it's a great looking watch. I will do a review on that. So she said they can do a custom dial for me like they did last time, which wouldn't really cost me a lot of money. So that's something I'm looking at. I think that's probably the road that I'm going to go down. But the issue is, what kind of dial do I want? And I don't know. At the moment, I'm sort of going towards a black dial with black subdials, but I'm not sure. Is that going to be a bit too boring and basic? Considering I've got this option of making just about any type of dial I want to. I'm not going to put my name or anything on it. I think I'm just going to leave it blank. I don't know. What would you guys do? What kind of dial would you want? Would you want numerals, battens, black with white subdials, white with black subdials, or a complete white one? So I don't know. You comment down below what kind of dial you would make. So I'm still sort of umming and ahhing of what type of dial I want. Because I've got so many other watches, I'm not sure what kind of dial I want, because I don't want it to be exactly so or similar to something I already got. It's probably better for me to do something out of the box, which I'll see. So the next thing I did was to look at hands. Now, she can also supply me with the hands as well. So I brought out a massive, great big catalogue with like thousands of different types of hands, just about everything you can think of. So I don't know, what kind of hands do I want? Do I want skinny hands, fat hands, weird and wacky hands? I could, like the subdials, I could have 3 different types of hands on each subdial. I could put different coloured hands for the hour and minutes, like a Daiwa's watch, because this does have a rotating bezel. So, and I also need to get the bezel fixed as well, so I'll get that done as well. So do I do that? I don't know. I am really stuck. I didn't think it would be this difficult. I thought I would just go there and say, right, I'll have that, and I'll be done. But considering I can make a watch basically to whatever I like, it's quite difficult. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What would you do? What kind of hands would you do? What kind of dial would you do? Was I right to get another 775 clone movement? Should I have gone for a quartz? Should I have gone for a different movement altogether? I don't know. So I'm going back in the next few weeks, so I'll look at some more dials. The next update will probably be in about 6 to 8 weeks time, so where I might actually have the complete watch finished. If I do find a dial that I like, I will just buy it, and then within an hour the watch will be done, because I already have the movement. So it's just a case of taking this out and slotting the new one in. So it could be done, or I could still be umming and ahhing. For them to make a custom subdial, I mean, that could take some time to do. So I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens. So stay tuned for any more updates. I might actually do, possibly, I think a good idea would be to do like a live show at the factory, and then have people put their 2 cents in and tell me what they think. Am I right to pick the right dial? So that's just the thing now. I've got the dial and the hands to sort out. So stay tuned for updates. Thank you for watching.